Okay, so Mac was just talking about with fighting, they're using getting people to, what did you say? Imagine hitting faster.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then once they imagine hitting faster, I guess it translates into actually moving faster as well.
Yeah. So with what we do with hypnosis, and I'll get into this later when we're talking visualizations, when with the power of our imagination, and you do this heaps of sports, you do this in forward focus coaching, well, you do this in anything. When we close our eyes and imagine something and feel it, our brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real, to the point that they burnt people. They burnt people and then they got them to remember being burnt. And there was no different in the way the brain lit up. So when they were looking at brain scans, they couldn't tell the difference in the brain scans between someone being burnt and someone remembering being burnt. How crazy is that? So the pain receptors, everything fired up exactly the same. That's really cool. They did research where they got people to learn a sequence of things to practice on the piano over the space of 3 months. They got people to actually practice the piano, and then they got a big group of people and they showed them the exercises to imagine playing the piano. So they had a group of people, a test group that practiced playing the piano. Then they had a group of people that just imagined that they were practicing, went into trance and practiced in their head. At the end of it, there was no difference once again in the brain, parts of the brain that lit up between the people that were practicing and the people that were imagining practicing. And when they got the people to do the activities, there was no difference in both as well. So the brain and the body believed that they were still doing it. So this is where you get into, when you get into sports psychology, they get people to imagine a shot before they take the shot. They did research with people shooting hoops, where they got people to practice shooting hoops, and then they got people to imagine shooting the perfect hoop, put it that way. And when they got them to play, the people that had been actually imagining had a better score rate than the people that had been practicing or not perfectly practicing, put it that way. So our body has the ability to even grow muscle mass imagining going to the gym. So they did research on one body part where they got people to go to the gym and then they got people to imagine working this body part every day. And they were able to build something ridiculous like a 30% muscle mass growth in the person that was under hypnosis every day, listening to the exercise. So they use it a lot. And so my mum's just had a stroke and I'm getting her to imagine doing things every day to fire up the pathway in the brain. So she might not be able to put her hand up to here, but I'll get her to close her eyes and imagine she's doing it, and I'll lift her hand up to there, or I'll just get her to imagine writing again and remembering doing things. So you'll hear a lot about it in the sports side of things, massively, and recovery. If you get people that can't walk to close your eyes and remember walking, the parts in the brain will start firing up as if they are walking. So it's hugely used in recovery. Well, it should be used in recovery. I know my mum was taught it when she was an OT years ago. So it was in the training 50 years ago, 60 years ago in New Zealand, 50 years ago it would be using, but they'd call it visualization. So when we do close our eyes, and this is cool, they were trying to work out how to change DNA, how to straighten DNA strands. This was Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, I watched this, and Bruce Lipton. They were showing us on a big screen when they came to New Zealand, a test where they were trying to straighten out DNA strands using visualization. And they found that when people visualized, they would stare at this or visualize this DNA strand straightening or something like this. You can find the test, nothing would happen. So they weren't able to change matter in any way. And then they tried to do coherence, which is sending a loving feeling to something to get it to change. They didn't get any results. But when they found that they got people to visualize and then feel feelings of gratitude or a loving feeling or a heightened emotion, they were able to get objects to move outside of the body. Like I said, straighten a DNA strand that was away from them being searched. They were able to get people to, one of the research things I saw was they were shooting light particles along us. I don't even know how they do it. They shoot a light particle, and when they get to the light particle, they had 3 holes, right? And they would get it, the light to split, to either go through the middle or to split into each of the holes. They were able to, the person visualizing which hole to go through, they were able to visualize it going through one of the holes, send out these feelings of gratitude or whatever they were doing, and they were able to manipulate matter outside of themselves, which I think is really cool. Power of visualization. So for us, when we're working with our clients, if someone can close your eyes and imagine something and feel it, their biology is going to respond. That's why we can create pain and take it away with our mind. Do you know what I mean? To the point that if I was working with a horse rider who's had a fall and they're getting nervous, you know, going and doing a round of, say, jumps, I use a heart math with sports people big time, Mac, because I show them how their heart changes instantly with a thought, which then sends a message through to the horse that the environment's not safe, and then they wonder why the horse is playing up. But if you had a horse rider and they were going to go and compete and they'd had a fall the time before that they competed, they're going to go out into the ring. Their brain is going to access the last memory that matches what they're doing, and it's going to give them a response based on that. So if they go into the ring and their brain maps the time they fell, they're going to be anxious when they go into that ring, and the horse is going to respond and it's going to turn to shit. So if you can create the perfect round with them, like put them into trance, get them to imagine they're there and they're jumping and everything's going right, when they go into the ring next time, their mind's going to access the memory that we created in session. So whenever you do hypnosis with someone and you get them to visualize something and feel it, their mind is creating a memory of, in that time, a future-paced memory of what it is they're doing. And then the next time they go to do it, it's gonna map the last experience of it. So if the last experience of what they're doing was created by us and it was a perfect experience, then the chance of them going out and riding better without the anxiety and stuff is going to be way higher. So, and that's for anything. If I'm doing a job interview with someone that stutters, you'd be sorting out why they're doing that first, but then you'll be taking them through in hypnosis. The session of walking into the room, you know, you shake their hand, you give them eye contact, you talk, you know, clearly, and you get to say what you need to say, and it's a success. You'd walk them through that, and then it creates a map or it creates a memory of that experience already have happened. So the next time you go out, that's what your mind does. Does that make sense? And there is, so you know how they say hypnosis and everything's not research. There's so much research. Like go into PubMed, there's hundreds and thousands of things. You'll find so much research into the effectiveness of hypnosis and hypnotherapy, especially in the medical world. It's just not. There's a couple of reasons why it's not done, but yeah. So that's really cool. Cool research with the mind and memory and how your body responds to it. Any questions about that? No. I'll be firing out heaps more every time we talk, and when it gets triggered, I'll just bring through research and stuff you can look into, because that is really